Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Oh, there's the right button. There's the right button. How's everyone doing today? It's Friday. Woo! I normally don't get coffee in the morning. This week's been interesting. So yes, it's Friday. Nice, relaxing, print and chill Friday. It's gonna be a short streaming day today, and by short, roughly 2 hours. And we're gonna be playing around with the PRUSA MK4, which we finished last Tuesday. Or last Tuesday. But this thing has been happily printing away. I put about 1 kilogram of filament through it so far. No issues. How many hours of sleep last night? I went to bed early, and by early I went 3 a.m. Yeah, we'll go on a little. We'll chat about Baldur's Gate later. But we built this stock. Okay, well obviously it's stock. It's a Mark IV. I don't think are there even community mods for Mark IV other than Stefan doing the clear faceplate here, which I wanted to do that, Stefan. I wanted to do a video on that. You beat me fair and square, obviously, but yeah, now I don't want to do it anymore. But anyways, so yeah, this is fully stock, which means it's running the stock firmware. So what that means, no input shaper. That was kind of one of my big pet peeves when they released this printer, was that, hey, they advertised it with input shaper, and input shaper is still not technically shipping with this machine. There's an alpha firmware that's in development that has input shaper, but that's not the mainline release. So technically this machine still doesn't ship with input shaper, which, you know, it's marketed as having. So it's kind of, come on, Joe. So what we're gonna do, I've got my memory stick here. I'm gonna have to walk over to my computer to do it because I don't have an extension. I need to get a USB hub in here. That's what I need. And we're gonna put the input shaper firmware on here, or the new firmware. Are you having a bad week, or is it the video game? Baldur's Gate 3, I'm at 60 something hours of playtime already. And I got the game Saturday, I wanna say. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm only about 30 hours into the character. Because I was smart, and something happened in my playthrough that I thought was a scripted event, and it turns out it wasn't, and that completely, like, once I realized I kind of screwed up, I had to go back, like, to a save 15 hours previous to undo that. Yeah. Yeah. PRUSA MK4 Alpha firmware. Been on the rabbit hole. It is, honestly, I haven't I haven't dove into a video game like this in years. It is so, like, nothing is more annoying. Okay, I played Breath of the Wild for a couple hours, and then I stopped. I did the initial tutorial area, I got to the overworld, I did like the first like couple like meat quests, and then it's just kind of like, okay, here's some filler, here's stuff to just kind of keep you busy until the next big thing happens. And Baldur's Gate is very much a meat, it's full of meat and potatoes. I love it. It is just, it's so dense. So dense. Apollo, oh poop, that's not a scripted event. Yeah, so if you're wondering what I'm talking to, if you haven't played the game, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. There's an event near the beginning of the second act where you get to, I'm gonna try and be as vague as possible. You get to a location, and there's a bunch of people there. And then a bad guy attacks that, and during the fight, takes somebody if they get knocked out. And then, defenses fall, and pretty much everyone gets killed, okay? And at first I'm like, oh, that's a scripted event, because literally on round 1 of the fight, a bunch of bad guys spawn on her, knock her out, take her away before I can even react. And I tried like quick saves coming in a bunch. They literally, before I could do anything, I lost every time. So I'm like, okay, it's obviously like a video game event. You know how video game events, you sometimes get a fight you can't win, or it's a FromSoft game and you can win. It's just, you know, you're not supposed to, but you can if you really are nuts. So anyways, no, that was a bug. They weren't supposed to spawn on her. So literally I've been playing a game with like half the characters that I should have had like alive, which like locked me out of a whole bunch of stuff. So I had to go back and redo it. So yeah, but on the plus side, because I went back, I've like, ooh, I gotta move this camera because in case you haven't noticed, new camera angle. If you watch my stream with Grant on Sunday, you had a tease of this camera angle. Because now I have a new camera angle. I gotta aim it up. No, that's fine. That's fine. It kind of sucks because I'd either drop the I might drop the camera. Like I might bring the camera lower. So instead of looking, because I traditionally like the camera up higher at my level, looking down, because that way you could see like what's on the printer and what's on the desk. But now that this is going to be more a studio space, I might still do this. Although I'm like right at the top of the frame, you still get like the printer in the full frame, because this is again for like print and chills and printing streams. Now it's in the basement or unboxings. So new channel Nero 3D Games. No, because I hate editing as is, so I'm not going to edit for a gaming channel. Okay. Wow, I'm. Alt. There we go. Boop. There we go. Okay, cool. So 4.7.2 firmware, custom nozzle diameter, temperature bug fixes. So this is the original firmware, but here is the alpha. Or no, that's the X. Is this it? I think this is it. So 5.0, power panic, network fix, layer skipping result, premise of that. Is this input shaping? Is this the input shaper one? Oh. Input shaper, there we go. Picture camera call. I don't know. Normally it's because it's all scrunched down. So I think it's the 5.0 alpha. Yeah, it's this one. I think. You want alpha 4. Okay. Which I think that's what I downloaded. Alpha 4. Yeah. So I downloaded alpha 4. Okay. Showing folder. There it is right there. And take this, drag it over, put a bing bada boom. Okay. And then we plug it into the printer and it updates. Go to the booter. I knock over my mic or my receiver. I walk over to the printer, which I will say hasn't been perfect. I've had one part fail. Unfortunately, it was a big ass plate of parts. And one of them warped and it kind of took out everything. So I did have one print fail on this, but that was the only one, and it was like the third plate. So unfortunately I wasted a ton of filament because I let the whole thing finish. I didn't realize it failed because everything up to that point was perfect. Like this satin bed, I've been printing Polymaker Polylite ABS, and it just, when it's hot, it sticks. Now, if it's a big long object, put Mickey Mouse ears on the ends to keep it from warping. But any of like the small like stuff for the VZBot, you literally take the plate and you go, and everything comes off. It's actually really good. Although the satin, you can really see fingerprints on it. Like it really sucks up fingerprints. So that's kind of the only downside I've noticed so far with the satin bed. So, okay, settings. system. Where is, how do you update? Hardware. Moment all loading. Info. Where is firmware update? Buddy board. Okay, so when I updated it from the previous to the stock, like updated the stock firmware, I just put it on the memory stick, I plugged it in, and it like auto loaded the firmware. But it's not doing that this time. Did I download the right thing? Yeah, I downloaded that. I put it on the thing. Oh, turn it off and turn. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. That is correct. So turn it off. Does it do true input shaping? So here's the thing. It is running input shaper, okay? But it's running input shaper with preset values, okay? There we go, okay. Firmware version alpha, flash. So it is running input shaper, but it's running it with preset values that PRUSA has determined. Basically, they just like saw what works on like all the printers in their farm. And they went, well, these are the values that work on all of them. So these are what the input shaper values is. What is input shaper? Glad you asked, Rose. So for those that don't know what input shaper is, basically as you move faster, you get ringing, right? You know what ringing is, like ghosting, right? What input shaper does is it basically, you can get the value several different ways, but once you have those values, the way we do it on Klipper is you put an accelerometer on the tool head. It basically knows what values the printer resonates at. Okay, what speeds and feeds will cause the printer to resonate, and during movement, it will basically avoid those. So either it'll usually slow down, or basically it allows you to compensate for those resonance frequencies and allow you to go faster without the ringing. On the downside of that, it does that by curving, okay? So basically a sharp edge becomes a rounded edge, okay? So instead of like, you know, you're driving fast at the corner and you go, and you turn really hard, it kind of, as you're coming at the corner, it does this and you round the corner. And it allows you to go faster at the cost of a rounded corner. Now here's the thing. It depends on the type of input shaper. There are more aggressive values than others. There are more aggressive values than others, okay? So there's different types of input shaper. On Klipper, I run MZV, which is like one of the least aggressive ones. You don't get the most raw speed out of it. However, you get the least amount of corner rounding. In fact, you barely notice it on MZV. So that's kind of the downside, but it is like everything. Nothing is free. Everything has a cost, right? So if your printer is slow, you go faster, you increase your accelerations. When you increase your accelerations, you go faster, but you get ringing. Well, you can get rid of ringing by putting input shaper on it. However, when you put input shaper on it, the more aggressive your input shaper, the more rounded your corners are. So it's kind of like, you know, you bought the snake to get rid of the rat, but then you had to get the cat to get rid of the snake, and then you had to get the gorilla to get rid of the cat. It's kind of that situation. So yeah, so I believe they have a few different types of values in here. Settings, network, system, input shaper alpha. So yeah, so right now it has MZV input shaper. So it's actually like the least aggressive input shaper. 1 second here. Nope. Okay. I don't know how much of that you can see, but it has MZV for input shaper, 50 hertz on the X, 40 hertz on the Y. So what that means is because you can adjust the values in here, I'm sure somebody has already figured out a test print you could do, or it wouldn't be too hard to do a test print where you change the values at different heights and you get out your ruler and you measure it and you go, okay, at this height, divided by X, okay, I need it actually for my build because I didn't tension the belts. I tensioned them too much, too little, whatever, or just the way I built it. I should be running 52 Hertz or something like that. So that's kind of what it is. So here's the thing. All these machines are technically built the same. They all have the same parts, the same belts, the same frame. If you got a kit, you have the same printed parts. So their values for input shaper should all be roughly within ballpark. The only big difference you would see is belt tension on user-built units. But you can always adjust that, right? So it's like, yes, it doesn't have an accelerometer. You can't do the custom, you know, brrr, and make your house vibrate. But the thing is, once you have those values, they really shouldn't change. Now, here's the thing. Yes, technically, you know, now that this printer is on this LTT store desk mat on a bench that's not bolted to the wall versus sitting on a concrete slab in the garage, technically my input value or my input shaper value will change because, you know, this machine will resonate slightly different on this surface versus the surface in the garage. However, it's kind of like a bell curve, okay? So if you got your peak where it's like, this is perfect. And now that we've moved it to this surface, which is slightly different, we're no longer perfect. We're like here or here, which is still better than down here without input shaper, if you get what I'm saying. So you can be off those perfect values and you're still within the, you're still better than without input shaper kind of thing. So yeah. Now, do I have PRUSA slicer on here? I do. I got 2.6. Okay. So we're gonna print something. Let me get some filament here. Bada bing, bada boom. I have this nice. Okay. Cookie Cat gave me this really nice filament, dual unicorn, and I've been wanting to use it, but it's a silk filament which doesn't print fast. So I'm gonna wait. Silk filaments usually have a tendency to not print the fastest. Oh, I know what I got. I got, where are you? Because I'm going to use you up, because what the hell else am I going to use it for? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Actually, where are you? I got that spool of filament that came with the Cheaty. That's like a Rapido filament. Aha! There we go. Cheaty Tech. There we go. That'll work. Okay. Filament. Unload filament. Waiting for temperature. There we go. Are you ever gonna put the skirts on the this guy? No. Never. I don't even know. Is it even running 2.4? Yeah, it is running the 2.4Z. The reason this doesn't have skirts is because this was running the 2.2Z for the longest time, and I never got around to updating it. Okay, so here's the thing. Is there a Mark IV profile? Oh, newest configuration. Okay, let me update here. That has like input shaper, like a slicer profile for. Oh, here we go. Yeah, they do. Okay. So this is Mark IV Input Shaper Alpha. There we go. Oh, I can smell that ABS melting. Okay, next. All filaments. Fish. There we go, okay. There we go. So Polymaker's still not on here. 0.2 speed. Okay. There we go. There we go. That came out. I should have been smart and grabbed the box of parts that I printed for the the VZ bot, to show them off, because they actually came out really nice with like the stock settings and everything. Like everything came out really nice. Load the new filament in. Okay. And this is PLA. So the question is, class, what are we going to print? Actuation force, do you think using dual rods like a PRUSA would help? You may be able to. I haven't really looked into it. Basically, the reason you can't use tap on anything with a non-rigid bed is because the bed flexes too much and you won't get an accurate reading. So it works pretty much on like the Trident and the V2 or the Legacy. Actually, no. Has somebody bought it for Legacy? I don't know. Either way, the switch wire bed is stable enough to print on. Again, if your bed on a switch wire is doing this while you're printing, you're driving your nozzle into the bed. You shouldn't be driving your nozzle into the bed. But tap actually does come down and boop it. Now there is boop, which requires less actuation force, which might work. I don't know. Benchy, are we gonna do a Benchy? Are we gonna do a boring Benchy? We're gonna do a boring Benchy. Okay. Let's do a Benchy. Do I not have Benchy on this computer? I need to download Benchy. Okay. Do a calibrate. I'll do a Benchy first just to get a ballpark. Okay, so we are gonna print the stock Benchy at stock V2 speed set, or V2. Mark IV input shaper speed settings, okay? So we'll do the Benchy. Okay. So this is Mark IV input shaper. Let me come down here. There we go. Okay. Actually, let me go up here. I'll go down. I'll live in this corner. So Mark IV input shaper alpha, Jesse PLA, cool. And we're going for speed, 0.2 speed, okay? Stock settings, slice now. Okay, so that's 43 minutes on that Benchy. Okay, I'm not doing speed Benchies. Speed Benchies are dumb. We're not doing a speed Benchy here, okay? Now, you may be wondering, that is slow, blah, 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 XYZ, Core XY enclosed printer number 57A2 can do a faster Benchy. Well, here's the thing. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. Okay. So let's do this. Okay, one second. I'm pulling up some references for you, kiddies. Okay, so for reference, this is me hitting the wrong button. There's me hitting the right button. This is Bambu Slicer, Bambu Studio, generic PLA, default standard 0.2 Benchy. Slice. Model print time, 41 minutes. Okay, so, and this is with the 7 minutes of, you know, spinning up the turbines that the Bambu takes. So yes, when you're printing, you know, super customly tweaked G-code file Benchies that are optimized for speed, yes, they can do 15-minute Benchies. But I'm talking the default standard profile that little Timmy's gonna use when he buys the printer, he unboxes it, and he goes to print whatever the mean print of the month is on like the quarter kilogram of filament that he does print a month. Because let's be honest, that's the majority of what people do with 3D printers. Would I recommend a Mark IV over K1? I don't have a K1, so I have no idea about a K1. I don't trust it to be a long-term supported printer. And from the floor models I've seen, I'm a little suspect about the build quality. They said they were going to send me one. That was months ago. It never showed up. And I know a few other reviewers that were told they were going to get them, and then they never showed up. So they sold printers to people And then they told the reviewers, after people who had paid for their printers received them, that they told reviewers, hey, we need to fix more we need to do an update to these printers before we ship them out to customers. So they're willing to sell unfinished printers to people, just so they can get them on the market quicker before, you know, everyone else. Because now, enclosed course-wise, I don't like Creality's business practices. I don't like a bunch of companies' current business practices. But yes, I you know, personally, what machine, if like, hey, you have to buy a printer, you're going to use it for 5 years, I'd take a Mark IV over a K1 any day. I trust this to be usable in 5 years. Because, you know, K1 in the lockdown butchered Klipper firmware that's phoning home and whatnot. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyways, so yeah. So 43-minute Benchy here. Hey, guess what? The Bambu with the stock profile, no special G-code modified speed Benchy YOLO profile, is the same. Now, okay, so let's see here. Strength. Oh, that's 15% infill, 2 wall, 3 top, 3 bottom. This is 15% infill, I believe. Yep, 15% infill, 2 walls, 5 top, 4 bottom. So this actually has more layers. And we're printing within the same ballpark time of 43 minutes, it's estimating. So yes, you know, the maximum capacity, the maximum speed of these printers, there is a difference. Don't get me wrong. A high-speed Core XY can push faster than a bed flinger. It is what it is. It do be how it is, though. It do be how it is, though. However, the actual shipped profile that they include with the printer, and they, you know, kind of expect you to use because that's what they made for you, they print a Benchy in the same amount of time. So, yeah. Should it be 10? I'm not doing speed Benchy. Speed Benchy is a dumb metric. We're printing an actual normal Benchy that the machine would print, because a speed Benchy is just it's not a benchmark. It's just how fast can you make the XYZ move, which doesn't mean anything, because I can take hardware from 2016 in 3D printing, slap a Raspberry Pi 02 in it, and make it move as fast. That really isn't. All it is a speed test. You can do the same thing without it. It's not a high flow Hotend anyway, so you're not even. You have to cheat. But in terms of not the dumb speed Benchy profile, the actual profiles that people use on these printers, because again, the majority of people, when they print something, they throw the filament in, they load up the 0.2 layer height profile, they load up whatever model they want to print, they slice it, they hit print. That's kind of what the majority of people do with printers. And this and my Vorons, they all do a 30 to 45 minute Benchy with the stock profiles. So I want to, here's the thing. I did a speed, I was one of the first people to do speed Benchies. Somebody did one, a couple of people did them on Twitter, and then I did a live stream where we did it on this guy, and we got down to like a 15-minute Benchy, and we were super impressed. That was over 2 years ago now. Like, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, 15-minute Benchy, but like, I unboxed the Bambu over a year ago, and it did a 15-minute Benchy. A 15-minute Benchy is kind of like, okay, yeah, we know this machine can do it, but like, you know, all machines can do it. My V1 can do it from 2016 if I put a high flow Hotend on it and better part cooling. We're testing the firmware to go fast. We're testing what they sent. Like, here's the thing. We're testing how the printer comes. Again, this is still a new built machine. So now we're putting the alpha firmware on it, and we're seeing what they ship with it, which is a 40-minute Benchy. That's what it is. And let's be honest, people, like, I was watching, what is it, Uncle Jesse, he was on Twitter, he did a 15-minute Benchy. Guess what? They could all do 15-minute Benchies. Let's be honest, a 15-minute Benchy is boring. You know, we're doing a 43-minute Benchy now. Plus, the problem is you do those speed Benchies, you get that weird like transition finish where it's like shiny and then matte and then shiny. Because the problem you have with that is filaments flow differently at different speeds and feeds, okay? So if you're printing something like a silk filament and you want it to be shiny, okay, this is silk filament. You want this to be shiny. If you print this fast, it's not shiny. You have to print this slow. It's, you know, all materials behave differently. Material science is a thing, and a lot of people just, you know, get that MG94 ABS and just shove it through the hot end as fast as you can. And yeah, you can do that, but like, if you cook filament, you degrade it pretty badly, actually. Let's get a camera on this. So cooking filament degrades it quite badly, actually. And that's something you kind of don't want to do. That is not the right camera. Whee! Okay, let's actually get this set up. I need to tap a hole in this. Mowing the lawn and listening. Hi, Daniel. I gotta cut my grass, but okay, I don't know about you. I hate cutting grass. I hate cutting grass. I hate maintaining grass. I hate landscaping. Like, I live in the burbs. I've got, you know, I hate it. I hate it. The first thing I did when we bought our house was I ripped out all the landscaping in the front yard. One, because it was all overgrown and was bad. And you know what I replaced it with? Grass. And I didn't even mulch it. I where there would normally be mulch, I put rock, like the red volcanic rock, because you don't have to redo that every year. Okay, so while this is getting there, because I'm assuming you want a view of this, I stripped out the threads on this. So there's this other hole right there that has nothing in it. I'm gonna tap it and see if this works. So, no. There we go. So you're basically a farmer at heart. No. There we go. So while that's doing that, again, if you haven't had your chance yet, every stream we give away a spool of Polymaker filament. And this is a stream, so enter for your chance if you haven't entered yet. So go do that now. And then also, if you're looking for filament, or if you want to help support the channel, the content I create, or the things I do, there's links in the description as well, affiliate links. They don't cost you anything extra. Go a long way in supporting the channel. And also, if you want to help support, consider becoming a channel member, a Patreon supporter. You get access to the super secret channel on the Discord, that is. And then also access to the monthly members only live streams that we do. Use a heat set insert. I don't have 1/4 inch heat sets. Do you have 1/4 inch heat sets? I don't. I've only got the standard ones, like the ones you use on a Voron, basically, which are M3s. So this camera I've got, here's the thing. I need an overhead camera for the garage, but I need a mobile camera in here. So I'm hoping that this will be good enough now in here to be the mobile camera in here. So when I do this, oh, okay, I gotta fix this view. 1 second here. I'm sorry, it's kind of bunged up. Let me fix this, because we had that webcam that wasn't working. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go here. Hey, look, there's me. And then we do this. That. The reason I look kind of funky in these like cropped, it has something to do with the scaling. The scaling's not right. So this is, I don't know, this seems to be moving at like normal speeds to me. This looks kind of normal to me. Like for like what I would consider like a normal speedy-ish printer. Matt Shammy gifted a community membership. Cheers. Let me see if I can get more light. I know I have another light somewhere. I just don't know where. Where'd you go? I missed you so. Actually, where did I put that light? I had a panel light, like a little USB panel light. Don't know where I put it. Are you back yet? No. I don't know where I put it. Ah, shoot. I'm gonna have to go find it. Yeah, I don't know where it went. Oh well. But I got zoom. I know it's pixelized. For some reason, it's not scaling. Like, because this is the thing is, this right here, I don't know why it's doing this, because this is 4K. This is a 4K feed, and it's pixelized, and I don't know why. Like, it's a 4K feed. Like, if you don't believe me, here's the input. It's a 4K feed. I don't know why it doesn't want to when I do the when I do these cameras, it pixelizes it, because it's fine here. It's fine here. It's just, you know, when we go to the close up, it likes to make me all pixelated. Refresh the overlay. I don't think that does it. There is no refresh. Auto reply, auto rotation, flip vertically, color range, capture audio only. Like it, I don't know why it does this. Remove the overlay. The overlay has nothing to do with it. The overlay is its own separate element. Dirty little Hotend. It's been printing ABS all week, that's why. You want 8-bit. I can count the pixels. I'm playing Zelda. Yeah, I don't know why I'm all pixelated in these views. I don't know why it's doing that. Can I use PETG carbon fiber for Voron printers? No! It'll melt on you if you enclose it. Just because you add carbon fiber does not get over the fact that PETG does not do well in an enclosed environment. Carbon fiber just makes PETG stiffer, which for an open air printer, like if you were printing your own parts for a PRUSA, and you didn't plan on enclosing it, carbon fiber PETG would actually probably be pretty good, because when you add carbon fiber to a filament, you actually lower its layer adhesion. Because carbon fiber doesn't stick to carbon fiber, right? So you actually lose layer adhesion, but you gain XY strength. But PETG already has really good layer adhesion, like some of the best. So that kind of overcomes the loss of layer adhesion, and then you get stiff. So it's like better than PLA, because PLA is, well, really rigid. As soon as you shine a light at it and it starts to heat up, it goes all bleh. So yeah. Wow. See how PETG actually melts? It's because the carbon fiber absorbs. Is that why? I want to replace the afterburner with a stealth burner. What are the budget Hotends to use on it? I'll get a Rapido. If you're gonna, like, honestly, you can go with the Dragon. The Dragon works. I started having failures on Dragons after a couple years of using them. I don't use them anymore. Just build quality, like they started oozing a lot. I like Revos and Rapidos are kind of like the two go-to in my opinion. If you only ever plan on printing with a 0.4 nozzle, I really like Revos. If you really want that fat flow, high flow, Rapido is within the same budget too. So. Baldur's Gate pixels, please. Baldur's Gate looks amazing. I'm playing it on Ultra with like everything cranked. And even with my 3950X, 64 gigs of RAM, and a 3080, 10 gig at 1080p, like if it's a small cutscene with a couple players, yeah, or characters, yeah, I'm hitting, 150 FPS. But as soon as you like enter Baldur's Gate, the city, with everything cranked, whoo, it's a taxing game. Like I'm still getting 60 plus, but whoo, you can tell it's chooching. The fans on the video card start cranking. Pedro, €5. Cheers. Thanks. Thank you. Those are considered budget. But if you're talking about budget hotends to me, you're talking about a V6 clone on AliExpress. Like, here's the thing. If you want to be cheap, you get cheap shit. I like my machines to work. Like, don't get me wrong. I've used the Triangle Labs V6s for years, okay? The Trickle Bob V6 is like the gold standard of a cheap, decent hot end, okay? Anything beyond that, I think, is a waste until you actually get to like Revos and Rapidos and Mosquitoes and whatnot. Like either be really cheap, or correction, don't be stupidly cheap. Don't spend $10 on a Revo clone or a V6 clone. But there's like that price point where the Triangle Labs V6 is, which is pretty decent. It's still really cheap, but it actually works really good. And then you kind of got, you're spending a lot, but you're not getting much more. And then you're into the good shit. Just go right to the good shit. You only need one hot end for your printer. Don't cheap out, because, how much is your time worth? If it jams on you once and you lose a 20-hour print and you have to spend who knows how long fixing it after, because it made a giant mess because it jammed on you because it cheaped out and it got a shitty machine heat break in it, is that worth saving 10-15 bucks? Why is it already so dirty? Because it's been printing ABS for a week. And I had one full plate failure because something came off the bed and it took everything out in the middle of the night. Buy once, cry once. Exactly. Have I taken a look at Diamondback? Yes, Diamondback sent me their sampler pack last year. I've used them in a few machines. I had it. I think I might still have one mounted in whatchamacallit, the V1.8, the Toasty Boy. They're very good nozzles. Here's the thing. They are pricey nozzles, okay? If you were running nothing but abrasive stuff all day, every day, they start to make sense, okay? So if you're in a production environment and all you do is just run carbon fiber or glass filled is horrible for wear on nozzles. Glass filled nylon destroys injection molds built out of like tool steel. Like I've seen hardened tool steel, like H13, get eaten away by it over years of use. So glass filled is horrible. So if you're running that stuff all day, every day, and like you can justify the cost of a Diamondback nozzle, I think that's where it really shines. Should you be buying one to put on your clapped out Ender 3? No. You get if you only ever print like the odd spool, you can get by with a decent like steel nozzle, or if you print enough of it, an Obsidian, a Nozzle X, a Basel nozzle, one of those. But the Diamondbacks are for, like, in my opinion, those that like print like nothing but carbon fiber or glass filled all day, every day. Yeah. What is the best way to do input shaper is to delete firmware and card and install 5.0. That's what we did. That's what I did. I deleted what the firmware on the card, and then we put it on the USB, and then we went. What about the Ruby? No, don't get a Ruby. It's kind of like there's really no point anymore. Ruby is old. Ruby nozzles are old, and I still remember they had an issue where the Ruby fell out. Now the problem with the Diamondbacks, they can't go above 300. They can't go above 300 C. So if you're printing high temperature stuff and you need abrasive nozzle, then you're looking at like the Basel nozzle, Obsidian nozzle, whatever Slice Engineering has, those things. Because the problem with the Diamondback, while it is a real diamond, like for those that don't know, Diamondback, the company, does like engineering tungsten carbide bits. Like they build like diamond tip bits for like the oil drilling industry. They just kind of have a few guys on the team that like to say, hey, we got all this like diamond cutting technology, let's just make nozzles for 3D printers. So they kind of have like a little offshoot of this big industrial company that makes nozzles for 3D printing. So they have the understanding. So those are actually engineered diamond nozzle tips. The problem is they are in a brass nozzle, okay? So they're press fit in and they're formed into it. So they work fine up to about 300 C, and then you have the temperature dissimilarity between the two different metals, and then you may run into issues with the nozzle falling out above 300 C. So don't go above 300 C, but as long as you stay under 300 C, they don't fall out. So. RJ gifted 5 community memberships, and Nicholas gifted 1 community memberships. Cheers. Never tried Baldur's Gate, but I'm really inclined after hearing you guys so talk about it. I'm an ARPG. Never tried turn-based. It is okay. Here's the thing. It is turn-based. Okay. It is turn-based. It is literally running D&D 5e rules, like Dungeons and Dragons 5e rules. So if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, all the levels, the unlocks, like everything is exactly the same. It is literally running on Dungeons and Dragons rule set. Now, what I'm doing, I'm being that guy. I'm playing it on the easiest setting. Couple reasons. One, I want to get through the game and not get frustrated. Like, I don't want to get roadblocked in something. I don't want to like get to a boss fight, find out I'm under leveled, and then I have to like, because you can't grind. Once you kill an enemy, it's done. Like, there's no respawning enemies. And there's really not a lot of combat. Like, you don't get into a ton of combat with a lot. But I'm kind of playing through my first playthrough for the story, so I can kind of just have fun, get through it, and then I'll go through and play on a harder difficulty with like, I want to do darker. I need to play a Dark Urge character next. That's gonna be fun. But yeah, play on easy and just have fun through it. And just remember, it's not like a traditional video game. It's running on D&D rules. That means you cheese the heck out of everything. There is so much cheese you could do in this game. Like, you have to think outside the box. You have to think of it like you're sitting down there with your buddies playing D&D. There is so many different ways to go about everything, because you can, you know, I need to kill this, I need to take out this bad guy in a room, but there's a ton of other guys. How do I do it? Well, you know, you could talk him into going to another room. You could just brute force your way and just hit him with a big stick and just attack everyone. Or you can go pick up a bunch of exploding barrels and surround them with exploding barrels and just, you know, blow them up. Like there's, you know, I had one boss that was giving me trouble. I ended up just shoving him off a ledge into lava. Yeah, not everything is the same as 5th edition, but it's kind of close enough. The issue with pixelated view is obvious. Do you care to know? Well, Alpha, if you know, let me know. Like, if you already said it earlier, I might have missed it, but like, the only problem with shoving them into pits is you lose it. You don't get to pick up anything off their body, because obviously they got shoved into a pit. Algorithm deleting and scanning your file. Okay, so Alpha, that was completely pointless. Like, shoot magic missile into dark. Magic missile is bait. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it always hits. But the thing is, honestly, nothing in the game feels like filler. There's no fetch quests. There's no, oh, I need you to kill X amount of Y, or I need you to go over here and talk to this guy. They come back and talk to this guy. It's very, very like, there's no real like down area. There's no like, okay, before you proceed, you have to go climb up these 8 towers and unlock your map type thing. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing the thing. Honestly, I've started having all these weird issues once I switched over to the the integrated capture card, the Elgato card. Maybe I gotta update the driver on it. I'll do that after the stream. I'll update the driver, because like obviously it works. I'm not pixelated in this view, but the moment I'm running two cameras, it gets pixelated. So I don't know why. Tried the adapter on a V6. I have not yet. I have not. Right now I'm just running everything stock for now. And that's kind of the plan. It's working now? What? What? Okay, it's not working there. It's not working there, but it's working here. Okay, you know what? Oh, you know what? Here, watch this, watch this. Okay, 1 second here. No. Okay, you know what? Okay, you ready? You ready for this? Your capture device, add existing, main cam, boom. Okay, desktop view. Okay, here I am, doing everything I can. Goodbye. There we go. Maybe it was, there we go. You know what it might have been? Maybe, because I've had to change the settings around a few times because I had cam links and that, and maybe I had a thing where I like compressed it and then stretched it, maybe. Yeah, maybe, I think that's what I did. I think I may have like shrunk it and then stretched out the shrunken thing, maybe at one point. I'm no longer 8-bit. The overlay, I'm over the overlay though. Gotta have the overlay on top. Overlay on top. There we go. Yeah, overlay on top. Main overlay on top. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, because we moved chat, because chat was originally down here, and now it's over here. So yeah, move some stuff around. Missed the 8-bit. Well, too bad! I gotta redo my stream deck because now I don't have an overhead camera. This was the overhead camera button, but I don't have an overhead camera anymore. Just go to SMPT2110, fix all your broadcasting codec. Oh, yeah. Why is it taking so long? I don't know. Because it's the stock 0.2 speed profile. Because we don't run no clapped out, stripped down Benchy, speed Benchy G code around here. I'm running what the printer actually runs, which again, we went over this at the beginning for those coming here. What we did was, for 1 second here, I'm trying to click the screen, there we go. For those at the back of the class, and for those that just joined, what we've done, this is a Mark IV. We installed the alpha firmware, which has input shaper. And then what we did was, we have PRUSA 2.6, with the alpha slicer settings set for 0.2 speed, and we sliced it. It comes out to a 43-minute Benchy. But Taylor, you say, my enclosed Core XY that scrapes all my user data and spies on me through a webcam, it does a 15-minute Benchy. Well, gosh darn gummit, I loaded up their slicer with their stock 0.2 profile, which is suspiciously close to the exact same settings as the stock profile for a PRUSA. And guess what? It spits out a 41-minute and 14-second Benchy with the exact same settings on a normal user setting. Because we're running what the actual printer ships with and not no trade show clapped out, stripped down speedboat Benchy setting. So yes, they do run at the same speeds, roughly, approximately. in real world use when it comes down to printing a real world thing using the real world slicer settings that they provide for you. Which, anyways, if you're wondering about speeds and feeds, what are the speeds and feeds in here? Options, advanced, speeds. There we go, speeds. Okay, there we go. So there's your speeds. And there are your feeds. So they're around 4K Excel, 170, 200, there you go. So yeah. So yes, I could put the custom G-code speed Benchy on here and get a 15-minute Benchy. Whoop-de-doo. But I'm actually interested because I don't know about you. I print more than speed Benchies. Again, once we're done here, this printer is going back in the garage in its cardboard enclosure to print more ABS, full plates of ABS parts. I actually use my printers not just for internet points. So I want to know how this machine actually runs with the real world settings you actually use and not some EPeen internet point speed Benchy thing. Because again, this is what they shipped with the printer, which means as the manufacturer of the printer, they go, these are what we want, we think the printer starts at. These are the settings that we recommend. And this machine, and I point at the Bambu, but it's in the garage, they have roughly the same speeds at their 0.2 standard setting. So only Benchy's is a lie. I don't know about you, that does look like a Benchy. And it edited into to print fast. Yeah. Oh yeah, a speed Benchy, you go through, I want to find an STL for the Shadow Hearts artifact. Which one is that? There is a lot of, okay, for those playing Baldur's Gate, every item in the game has a 3D model. Even like if you pick up an item and it's just like you see the little picture and it's just, you know, a key for something, that key has a model. So every item in the game has a 3D model, and I'm sure you can extract those. So if you're wanting to print anything from Baldur's Gate, everything in the game has a model. So the 20, oh, the astral prison or whatever the heck it is. I don't want to. The problem is I don't want to talk about too much about the game because I don't want to spoil it. No PRUSA enclosure box. That enclosure is honestly too big. It's good for schools and whatnot and businesses, and that's honestly probably what the market is for it. But I literally just have this under a cardboard box in a garbage bag, and it printed all my VZBot parts. I have like one more plate to do in accent colors. That's like the only thing I haven't done yet. Zoom in. Okay, can't zoom in that much. You do gifted memberships in Australia? I don't know if you're on the YouTube webpage, like if you're watching it on YouTube, you should be able to. IKEA lax enclosure. I have not done an IKEA lax enclosure because I got this Mark III here, which I never enclosed because I never printed it. Never needed to enclose it. I did print more Hedamame parts. I don't know why I did. This one, I don't know what we're gonna, because I bought this one. This one was sent to me by Printed Solid. This is mine. Like I bought this one. This there. We're playing with it today because I still need to justify its purchase price. So those who want to help support the channel, links in the description. Yeah, Origin is easy. I don't know what Baldur's Gate 3. Honestly, it's funny how much like how good it is. Like it feels like a game that actually like the studio cared about. I'm doing the lax. I don't have an IKEA near me. I'm Southern Ontario. I have to drive up to like London to go to IKEA or cross the border, which I ain't doing that. So. What do you think about the Micro Swiss NG? No one ever mentions it. I've never run anything from. I've talked to the Micro Swiss guys. They have a booth at every event I've been to. they're good folks. They make good stuff. The thing is, I don't have printers I would put their stuff on. Like, a lot of their stuff is like, I know like a big market of theirs is Ender upgrades. I don't run Enders. So I have an Ender 3 V2 that I've already ripped apart and harvested for parts. That's the only V-wheel bed slinger platform I'd be able to use a lot of their stuff on. Cross 2010 gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. Do you ever print any eSun ABS Plus? No. eSun ABS Plus used to be like the go-to standard for like easy to print, cheapy ABS, and I used a ton of it. Parts on this are probably still in eSun ABS Plus. But they changed the formula a little while ago, and it's not good anymore. So try and avoid it. Does ABS work properly on this machine? Yes. For those wondering what kind of enclosure I'm running the PRUSA in the garage, I spared no expense. And it is literally sitting in a corner. I've got a cardboard box up and over. The wall is the back of the enclosure. This wall is the side of the enclosure. And this is a garbage bag. And it's printed all my VZBot parts without fail. Perfectly fine. And there's my sticker thing that I'm working on right now. So yeah. That right there. Mwah, beautiful. What's better than the box the printer came in? Can I change my PRUSA order? Thought you're filling. I have no idea. Well, they make Baldur have several lesser known women. Yeah, I've looked at playing Divinity Original Sin and the sequel a few times. I just never got into it. Yeah, it's the Garb. it's the Garb BG V1 Enclosure. You mean your heated enclosure? I mean, technically, I did print one plate open air because it was 35C, and it just, yeah. Wham bam makes it. Really, you don't need much for an enclosure. Like, honestly, just buy a frame kit for like a Voron that's big enough to fit your printer in, and then just put the panels on the side and call it a day. I don't think it'll fit in. I still have the parts here for that Nerf blaster I got built. Can I put my Blade Runner blaster? I gotta take that apart. Okay. Let's see here. Let's do a little investigating. Can I use Tallboy as an enclosure? I'm running low. I'm running low on. I've still got Polyalchemy Elixir filaments. I've got like 5 or 6 partial spools left, and I'm nursing it. I really don't want to run out because it's so good. Okay. So, let's see here. Printers, Tallboy. Okay, so home all. Okay, let's get that Hotend out of the way. Z375. F6. Raise me up. I know Printed Solid has the recipe for it. The issue is it's actually has to do with the supplying the right material. There's an issue with getting a part of the resin to make it. Okay, so I gotta take the handle off. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so if you get a, this is 330, by the way, if you're curious, this is 330. If you get a 330 or 350 Voron spec frame and panels, you can enclose it. I gotta take this hangs off. Okay, I know what I'm doing with the Mark IV after the stream ends, because I gotta print one more plate of parts. I'm putting it in here to print it. The Mark IV I'm gonna just shove in my, in here, so I can print inside. So, for those that want to include their enclose their PRUSA, step 1, build a Voron. Turn the heated bed on. That I'd be a little concerned about, honestly. That I'd be a little concerned about. Can the bed fully move? Yeah, that was with the bed all the way at the back. Obviously, you'd have to be careful of the front. It'd be tight with the, I couldn't move it all the way back because I got the drag chain in the back. So I couldn't slide the printer in all the way, but I did have full bed movement. So yeah, I'm gonna put the Mark IV in there and print stuff after the stream ends. So I gotta print the accent parts, I think. Can you use that Klipper sticker in your shop? Yeah, I'll put it up tonight. I'll put it on the store. Too much heat for the electronics? You'd be surprised what the electronics can take in these machines. Now, don't forget, you also need the panel. Is there a chance for lidar? Maybe if one of, a lidar module actually comes out for these printers one day. An actual real lidar and not... Okay. None of these printers use lidar. Like actual laser ranging, none of these printers do it. What they do is they have a webcam and they have a laser. And the laser is a line laser, like it's a beam, and it sweeps across the bed, and the camera looks at it and looks for a variance, and it just measures variance in the laser, like the line. It's not actually measuring the distance to the bed using a light. LiDAR is radar with light, right? It bounces off. All this is doing is looking at a wibbly line and seeing how wibbly it is and then correcting for that. Or measuring variances and like outputting, oh, a lot of variance, ergo spaghetti. These machines don't use true LiDAR. It's not real LiDAR. Like, there's a reason. Go online and actually look up the cost of a LiDAR module and its accuracy. Because most of these machines, they're just using a measure the variance. There was somebody at Murph. I didn't do a video on it, but I showed it off in my overcap video, where Buddy wrote a paper on using LiDAR, or not LiDAR, using the laser and the camera and measuring the variances and doing all that to auto calibrate input shaper. And he had a demo of it running with Klipper and all that. So it can be done but that is not LiDAR. And he was very specific to point out and correct anyone who called it LiDAR. Because everyone goes, oh, this has the same thing as the Bambu or the K1, it has LiDAR. It's like, it is not LiDAR. They're lying. It's LiDAR with an L-I-E. It's not real LiDAR. So I'm still peeved that they market it as LiDAR, because that's a straight up like, and then I've had people go, well, it still uses light, so it's okay to call it LiDAR. It's like, no. Am I not on the internet? No. Light detection and ranging. Light detection is a remote sensing method that uses light in the form of a pulse laser to measure ranges. okay? So lidar module, okay? So if you want to buy a lidar module, this has an 8-meter sense distance. Like, these are lidar modules that you buy. They are big. They are kind of pricey. And also, oh hey, here's a nice. Let me find one. So let's find one. So yeah, like, oh, here's a cheap one. Micro lidar accuracy. Okay, what's the accuracy? Okay. Mention specifications. Oh, it's good within, you know, 6 centimeters. It plus minus 6 centimeters. None of these machines have lidar in it. They use a laser and a camera to measure the variances. That's all it is. Or look at the squiggly line. Is the line flat? No squiggly, good. Is the line very squiggly? Spaghetti, cancel print. Or adjust, you know, flow rate. That's what they're doing. It's not real lidar. So, what should have they called it? I don't know. I'm not the marketing guy. I don't come up with names for stuff. But that's not what it is. There is a system where you can use a laser and then use a camera, optical laser adjustment, optical laser calibration. They use laser. Laser's a great word. Kids love when the word laser's in stuff. It's cool. So, you know, laser, optical laser calibration. But no, you call it lidar and everyone loves it, but it's not lidar. Laser triangulation sensors, that would be a closer way. Do I prefer the Mark IV or the Bambu Lab P1P? Don't get a P1P at this point. Get the PIS because it has the enclosure and the fan and all this. The P1S is nothing more than the P1P with the optional add-ons included, and they found the box at the back of the shop with the enclosure panels and put them on. So I would get a P1S for the price difference. Get a P1S over a P1P any day. It's worth it. That versus a Mark IV, it depends. How long do you plan on running it? How many printers do you need? What's your use case? What is your stance on open source and network security and all that stuff? There's depends. If you know, if I had to spend my hard-earned money on a printer personally with my my beliefs and my use case of printer, I'd build another Voron. But if I needed to, like, if I only could have one machine and that was the only machine I would have for the next 5 years, I'd get a Mark IV. Because I know in 5 years this will still be supported. And I won't have to worry about, a hacker taking all my user data. Voila! C'est une boat. That is like the cleanest Benchy bottom I've ever seen. And no elephant's foot. Like, you can't. That's a mighty fine boat. That's a mighty fine boat. Tico comparison time. No, the Tico's in the garage. I don't have the Tico with me. Cool. Okay, in the garbage. Now what are we gonna print? You know what? Let's do me. Oh, hello there. This is a very good model. I love using this model to test. So this is a model of me by Chelsea. I don't have a link for it in the description, but if you go to printables and go to my page or search Nero 3D, you can download this. So this is me. I love this for a test model because it's got low, not a lot on the bed, so you can check your bed adhesion. There are straight up overhangs on it. There's really good, there's bridging, there's text in it, there's like fine detail. So this will really show rigging. You can check supports, you can test fine detail because you got like the glasses. Like there's actually a pretty good test model. So import G code. So let me, I don't have this on my network down here. I don't have the login info. Go over here, plug it in, get my mouse, totally do this so you can see the back of my head. I don't want to walk around. There, save. Okay, pull that out. I need to get a USB dock extension. Come over here, plug that in, plug it in, plug it in. Please wait. No, that's, oh, and oh, dang it, I pulled it out too early. Dang it, this always happens. Okay, now you can stare at the back of my head again. Lose the mouse. Oh shoot, which monitor is it? It's on this one. Okay, there we go. So export G code. Exporting, exporting, exporting. Come on. There we go. Exporting finished. There we go. Did I bump the camera? I did not. Plug it in, plug it in. There you go. So funny, this is a 3-hour print. 3 hour and 20 minutes, 3 hour and 16 minute. The cheaty one, 1 second here. The cheaty one, which I threw out because I ripped my head off. I finally got it to print. It printed great, and then I ripped my head off. Was like in the same 3 hours, and that was on the cheaty, which is a high-speed enclosed core XY. So it was still within the same time frame. But when I was breaking the support off, I also hey buddy. Yeah. Which, if you're wondering how the cheaty one came out, there we go. That was ABS though. Ah! I'm losing me head. Why is the bed so small on so many printers? Because that's kind of what the optimal size for a 3D printer is. Especially on bed flingers like this, once you start getting to big beds, they get big quick, especially when the bed's moving around. Because if you have a 500 millimeter by 500 bed, that means you need a meter of travel. That you need a meter clear for that bed to do its thing, right? And power requirements, the bigger the bed, the bigger the heater. It's harder to keep a larger machine calibrated and whatnot, depending on how the construction. Most 3D printers, as most people know, people who get into 3D printing, a lot of them are cheap. y'all are cheap. So people want to buy the cheapest, biggest thing. So it's kind of just, it is what it is. Plus, here's the thing. Most people are printing off 1 kilogram spools, so that kind of limits the size of what you can print to, like, you know, this is a kilogram of filament roughly. So once you start printing large things, you run out of filament quick. Where's the T-Rex skull? Ah, here we go. So this was on the SPOOL SV06 Max, and this is a full kilogram of filament. So this was printed in 2 prints on that printer. One was like this and one was like this, and this took like 2 days because it took a day for each part. So, yeah. Here. Which I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because guess what tomorrow night is? I prefer frugal. I will say this thing just knocks out first layers. I love not having to calibrate first layers at all. You just kind of hit go and printer goes. I like the SV06 Plus. It's fine. I don't use it, obviously, but it was a fine printer. I got to get rid of it at some point. One of these days, I'm just going to do what Joel does. Be like, hey, if you're in Southwestern Ontario, come to here at this point. And I'm going to give away printers. Because I gave away a bunch of printers at Murph. I might do that at Earth too. We'll see. Bring some printers to give away. Like, this thing just... that first layer. It's so good. I get wisps left on the bed after leveling. A little bit, but it's not a huge deal. So the problem is, like, the load cell that PRUSA is using is really nice, because the thing I really like about it, if you're curious what I like, so PRUSA's run real time. They're running their modified Marlin. This thing isn't Marlin anymore. It's been basically everything's been rewritten by PRUSA. But one of the cool things you can do that I really like that you can see on this. Let me see here. All right, so there's the screen. There's the info, sensor info. You can see the actual load cell value right here. This is the force on the load cell. This is the actual live reading from the load cell. And you can actually see every time it picks up. Yeah. So you can tell what the printer is kind of doing just by watching this value. So every time you see this drop to like 0 or a negative value, that's it raising. The negative value is negative G-force. It's actually 0 is no reading. When it goes to the negative, that means it's actually going up so fast, it's dropping the reading below 0. And then there's your filament sensor value. So using this, if this were to, like, you know, I don't know, I can't say what they're working on, but having this value being read, being live updated constantly, and you can see how quickly that thing's reading. You could do a lot with that. You could do a lot with that. If it suddenly spikes to like 10K, hey, it hit something. Do you want to pause? Like there are things you can do with knowing those values, having access to that. So here's the problem. Klipper runs batch commands. So the problem you would run into with Klipper is you might be able to read those values real time, okay? But you don't actually know what the toolhead is doing real time, because the toolhead does batch commands. So that's why you can't have power panic on Klipper, because you send a batch of command. If next time you're running a print on Klipper where it's doing a bunch of like crazy diagonals and shit like that, pause the print. You will see it'll do like a couple more moves and then go and pause usually. That's because Klipper sends batch commands. So the Raspberry Pi does the math and then sends command to the MCU. Sends a bunch of commands and the MCU goes, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do the next batch, this. So it sends batch commands. So what happens is once it leaves the Pi and goes to the MCU, the Pi doesn't know what's going on. Like there is communication back, right? There is talk back, there is timings, okay? But it doesn't actually know. So if you crash a print, it doesn't actually know when it crashed. It knows it crashed during that batch of commands, but you don't know exactly where that toolhead is at. So, saying you need to go back to Marlin. No, I'm not saying that, because there's completely different things. Klipper operates a lot like a CNC machine does. For those that have ever operated like larger, like industrial CNCs, they operate a lot like Klipper, where you have a central, controller, and then it tells a bunch of other stuff what to do. So. That's why you can't stop. Yeah, exactly. So that's why if you've done it with Klipper, where if you like, a good example. No, that one doesn't. I can't do it. If you were to if you were to start up a printer with Klipper, okay. So my LDO V2, okay, it's got the LEDs in it that are plugged into the control board. That means you can control the LEDs through the control panel, okay, on Marlin or through Mainsail. So try this. Next time you start a print with Klipper, start the print and then try and change your LED settings. While the bed's like hit start print, and obviously you're gonna have to wait for your bed to heat up, and then try and change your LED settings or turn a fan on. It won't, because it's waiting for that batch commands to finish before it'll take another input. So that's kind of one of the downsides with Klipper. It's not a huge issue, but it does kind of prevent you from doing some stuff. So what that could prevent you is using a load cell other than an on-off switch. So you could use a load cell in Klipper, and it would just be, when it reaches X value and you tell it what value is, that switches it. So you could use it for probing your bed and just tell it when it hits, 600 or whatever the value is, that counts as the switch, okay? But that means though, when it's live printing, you can't get a live readout and like, I don't know. It's hard to, I hope you get what I mean, right? Can you change the batch size? I don't believe so. Those are the cleanest supports that will ever go in the garbage. I will say this cheaty filament's actually not bad. Is there any possibility to resume a failed print on Klipper? Not really. Unfortunately, not really. That's why you got to buy UPS. Buy a UPS. That's how you don't have to resume a print if the print didn't fail. Get a UPS. But yeah, that's kind of the downside with Klipper. What are we printing now? We're printing me. We're printing the mini me. Is it possible to add interrupts on the MCU? There are interrupts. It's called e-stop. The problem with the interrupts in Klipper is they kind of jump into the command and then you can't resume. Because here's the thing, remember, once that batch of commands goes, it's gone. So yeah, you may be able to interrupt it, but you can't resume from there. Because again, if you send, I think somebody was saying it's 16 commands. So you send 16 commands to the MCU, and then 4 commands into that, you stop it. You can't hit resume, because the closest point it can resume to, it can either jump ahead to the next batch, or it can start that batch over, but it's now 4 commands off. A single straight line command that just tells you to go from A to B You could be way off. You're gonna have a layer shift. What about the August community count? Oh shoot, I completely forgot about that. What do you guys want to do for a community challenge this month? I need to set up a community challenge really quick. What do you want to do for a community challenge this month? Back to school. Beat the heat. Gardening. You know what? I'm just gonna do summer. Print something summer. I already did that. That was that was June's contest, was summer. Don't print for a month. Yes, all school related. Yeah, but I'm not in school, and a lot of my audience isn't, so. That's why Power Zoom and Marlin sucks as well. It's starting at the start of the layer, not where it prints. Oh, does it start at the start of the layer? That sucks. Print it big. We already did print it big. Worst design on Thingiverse. We need to do something quick. We need something easy. We need something easy for the community challenge. Things to fly in a tornado. No, not everyone lives in the American Midwest. Print in place things? Yeah, we could do print in. Here's the thing though, the problem with print in place, I like to have my contests more than just download a model and print it. Because here's the thing, everyone's gonna print like the current, like that one print in place that's like the current trend of the month, right? So, like, I try to have challenges where I try to make it where you don't have to be a designer to enter, you don't have to, you know, have a crazy Gucci machine. I try to make them very open to everything, but I don't want to do just print the thing and win. Like, I like there being like some sort of like, Quebec and Ontario, I know, well, I'm in the most prone area to tornadoes in Canada, or one of them, and we get like one F1 a year. Lithographs, home improvement, boxes and containers or spec. Could do that. Get organized. There we go. There we go. Let me. Challenges, create channel. So what, August 23, challenge. Create channel. Edit channel, permissions, private, save changes. Okay. Okay, two categories, single print and organizational setup. Okay, so I'm hearing, am I hearing thunder? Edit. Okay, so There we go. Okay, there we go. Channel is, there we go, put that up there. Permissions, open. You can view changes. Okay, save changes. Overview. Okay, so we're gonna put a 10-minute there. Remember, no chatting in the channel. Okay, there you go. Pin this. Pin. Pin message. Oh, yeah, pin it. At everyone. This one's open. There you go. Okay, it's pinned in the Discord. Go join the Discord. Link in the video description. Okay, 2 categories. Simple as this. Single print. Okay? Do you have like a printed organizer? For example, oh, look at this. Look at this. You know, it's a complete mess right now. I have these EG11 collets, okay, for my little CNC, okay? I printed this little holder for them. This would be an entry for the single entry thing. However, this is also part of Gridfinity. You know, I've never actually done anything with Gridfinity. So if I were to open up my drawer and take a picture of my entire Gridfinity organizer, that would be for the what did I even call that second category? Organized to the max category, okay? So those are your 2 categories. So either a single item, so your screw sorter, like it doesn't have to be like a thing in a drawer, it could be a screw sorter, okay? Just something to help you organize. Remember, very open-ended, I'm not a rule bad guys of World War II person, okay? So very open-ended, just kind of have fun, right? So those are your 2 categories. A single item, it can be multiple prints, but the item itself is single. Or show off your completely organized, you know, a good example of organized to the max would be, hey look, rep racks, okay? That would be organized to the max. Okay, okay. I believe we have a visitor. You want to help me? Well, come on in. How are you still wearing your sleeping sweater on? I don't know how much help I need, because we're just printing. You want me to bring the chair in for you? Here. Step over there. You can sit right there. Ooh, hey, what's this? Yeah, it's a T-Rex skull. Hey, is that big?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh no! You broke it!
Oh, that. The owl.
Oh, you want the little owl? Here, don't touch that. There you go. What sound does the owl make? So Daddy's not building anything today. We're just printing stuff. You want to watch? Well, it's printing right there.
You want to watch it? The guy making things.
Making things? Yeah, I'm making. What am I making? We're printing a little model.
Little mom?
Model. Like.
What? With the owl bird and a mountain.
Yeah, we're printing something like that. Oh, and the dog's in here. Oh, well, we lost that camera. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Mama.
Okay, so this camera doesn't have that long of a wire. And Coda's gone.
Oh, and Pokemon words.
Is that a Pokemon?
Yeah.
Oh, you know that. Coda. Okay, you gotta go help Mama. Go show Mama what you got.
What did you get, bud?
An owl
Oh, an owl and a Pokemon. You know what Pokemon it is?
and
What is it?
Stream Elements bot running. Took you long enough, Stream Elements bot. Where'd you go?
that is our
What time is it anyways? 12:42. Okay, so we got Charmander? Yeah, it's Charmander. So we've got like 15 minutes left on the stream. So if you haven't entered for your chance to win some Polymaker filament, make sure you do that. Do that now. Look what I can do. I'm gonna do something I never do on streams. Ready? Okay, there we go. I need to stand up. I need to make up for all the physical activity I'm not doing sitting on my butt and playing Baldur's Gate for 60 hours straight. So why are you Mastodon instead of X, Twitter? Never. Mastodon is not a platform I want to be on. It serves no purpose for me. Why would I want to be like? I did look in. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. I took a peek at Mastodon. It's not the type of online community I want to be on, because if I wanted to be on a smaller instanced community, I'm already on that. It's called Discord. Like, the reason I joined Twitter is to be able to communicate with a lot of people, right? It's to interact with the larger community. I don't want to go to a much smaller community where it's the same people, just less of them. So why would I go there? I'm on Twitter for the social media aspect as a content creator, right? Like, hey, look at me. This is what I do. And it allows me to interact with my fans and other content creators, which most of them are on Twitter. So if I'm going somewhere to make connections and self-advertise, basically, like, let's be honest, that's what we do on social media. Why would I go to the smaller, more instance one, which I'm already on a platform where if I want to direct communicate with people directly in a smaller setting, it's called Discord. So yeah, like, I have a Blue Sky account and I have a Threads account. Those platforms are dead. Like, why? Like, if they were better platforms, they would be bigger. Like, as shitty as it is to say, I don't think those platforms are viable. Like, they just, you know, just pulled the trigger on a Trident, my third Voron. Congratulations. What about Blue Sky? I'm on Blue Sky. There's like nobody on Blue Sky. And no, it's not X. Keep calling it Twitter. X is the stupidest name in the world. It's called Twitter. Everyone calls it Twitter. I still go to twitter.com. Yeah, that, like, yeah, I don't know. Saw it on the Tridex. It's cool. It's cool. How fast are we printing? Anywhere from, what is it? It's, so we're running the stock 0.2 speed profile, which is 170 on perimeters, 200 on infill. It does drop down for bridges, so anywhere from 100 on top solid, so 100 on solid, 170 to 200, and we're running 4K Excel. Yeah, 4K Excel. I could probably bump this max print speed. The max print speed is set for 200. I could probably bump that up a bit to like 250 or 300, but honestly, if you're printing a small object like this, a single object, you're not traveling far enough to even accelerate to the top speed anyway, so it's not a huge deal. So we've already kind of determined that the standard 0.2 speed profile on a Mark IV prints within a couple percentage points of time as like the 0.2 standard profile on like a Bambu or Voron or whatever. ABS scaling sizes. If you are printing something you've downloaded off like Thingiverse, or it's like a part not designed with ABS in mind, so like I ran into this with rat rig parts. Scale it up. What was it? 0.03% or 0.3%? I can't remember exactly what it was. I can't remember exactly what. Is it 0.3 or 0.03? But it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Or scale it down. I can't remember what it was. Oh, 100.5. That's what it was. Set it to a 100.5% for scaling. 100.5. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. Yeah. So Blue Sky is a lot like Gmail was back in the day, where you had to get an invite from somebody who already is on it. And here's the thing: social media platforms without people are like ghost towns. Also, the big problem with remember, social media wants you to sit on the site and scroll all day and not leave the site, so they can keep feeding you ads and whatnot. That's how they work. But the problem is with Threads, you can't create a custom feed. The only feed you get in Threads is the feed that the Zuck commands you see. And Blue Sky doesn't have like a For You page. Like they don't have like, a recommended. You just kind of see, like they're both of them. I go on those sites once a day and I get all my content that I need in like 5 minutes, and that's it. Whereas the Twitter, you can go on Twitter and you can just keep scrolling forever, and there's always stuff to look at. And just block the hell and mute the heck out of people that are annoying. Like my mute list on Twitter is obscenely long. Like I mute so many people on Twitter, it's ridiculous. But that means my feed is actually pretty good for the most part. You just, block all the, if their name has a check mark and then an American flag and then an eagle, block. Because you know their opinions, and why are you even in my feed? I'm here for 3D printing stuff. Facebook was initially, I don't even use Facebook anymore. I have Facebook for like a few small group of family, and that's it. Focus on the sound. What sound? There you go. Noise compression and the compressor is off. Who do I mute? It depends. Basically, anyone who's like, they're using, like I'm on Twitter to interact with people and whatnot. People that, okay. If I follow, this has annoyed me so many times. I have started following so many content creators that I like, they're either in adjacent fields or like, they're like, somebody I won't say who, but there's like a content creator that like I watched years ago, and I finally met them in person. We had a good chat. I started following them on Twitter, and it's like all you do is just yell at like certain political people on Twitter. Like you just at them and then just start ranting. And I'm like, one, they're never gonna see it. What the heck are you doing? Like why? Old man yell at clouds. If that's all you do on Twitter, you're gonna get muted or blocked. Like there's a ton of people that just yell at people that will never see it, and that's their all they do is, okay, I woke up at X person, and I'm a generic person, at person, you are dumb, blah blah blah, I don't like your opinions, blah blah blah, why are you ruining this country, blah blah blah. If that's all you do, you're muted. It's called venting, but it's venting at nothing. Be productive with your venting. And two, people that ask for stuff. If all you do, if you stop popping in my feed, where all you're doing is asking for stuff, or complaining how like all I want, you get muted. There's a surprising amount of that too. It's called vent. Yeah, block the blue checks. Oh my god, blue checks are the biggest giveaway. Blue checks are like the biggest giveaway that their opinion is not to be considered valid. How do I not order a $700 Physec Trident? Must resent very carefully. So the problem with the Physec, I built a Physec Trident. Don't build a 350. It is freaking huge. The one I have in my garage is a 350 Trident. Trident at 350, especially with the stock 250Z, is kind of dumb. Blue check are people that pay to use Twitter, which unfortunately, as it is right now, when they first rolled it out, it was like you can edit and a few other things, and I was actually tempted to do it. But now it's pretty much like the Musk followers that buy it now. Because the thing is, Twitter makes it so you get paid to use Twitter now. If you're a content creator on Twitter and you get like 15 million views or impressions a month, you get paid. You get actually paid by Twitter. Like you can reach. So the problem is what that does is you buy the blue check mark, because if you're a blue check mark, your comments automatically get ranked higher. Like they show up before non-blues in comment replies. So you buy that, and then also what you do is you be very, very, very political in a certain direction, and you also ask stuff like, oh, so-and-so does this, and they do that, you know, state something that they know will completely get a political side going nuts. Do you agree with that? And of course they don't. So it fills they get a ton of replies, which increases their impressions, because as you get more impressions, it gets recommended more because there's more blue checks doing it. And it's basically a snowball where they feed each other. And it's really annoying. So yeah, they gamify Twitter for income, and pretty much the only people making money on Twitter right now are all the right wings in their little circles. What printer do you think is the best for people as a hobby? So Matan, here is my current recommended list of printers. At the moment, if you can't spend enough to buy a SPOOL SV06, I personally recommend saving up to buying a SPOOL SV06. Below that, yeah, you have like $99 Ender 3s, KP3Ss, but it's like if you could wait a week or two, save up a little bit more, get like an SV06. I say start with the SV06. Beyond that, there's a whole swath of printers that fit in the 200 to 500 range that, let's be honest, the vast majority of them, you'll never know the difference between them because they're all basically the same printer. After that, P1S, Bambu P1S is probably the best bang for the buck printer right now. Unfortunately, if you're okay buying a DJI product, you're probably okay buying a Bambu product. But if you're, you know, somebody who likes to be able to work on their own printer, modify their own printer, tweak stuff on their own printer, control their printer fully, you might have issues with it, but it's still hard to deny for $699 or $599, whatever the price is of a P1S. Amazing bang for the buck. And then beyond that, it gets kind of hard. A PRUSA MK4 kit isn't that bad of an option in my opinion, especially if you plan on using the machine a lot for the long term. The X1C is kind of a big price jump over the P1P, whereas you can get a P1P and upgrade the Hotend to a hardened Hotend, and you pretty much get most of it there, especially now that it's enclosed. I really don't care about touchscreens, so it's not that big of a deal for me that it doesn't have one. And then beyond that, it's hard. It depends how much room you need. Beyond that, it gets hard to recommend pick this printer, because at that point, I really need to know what you need this printer to do and what you're going to be using it for. Because then you start like branching down different paths, okay? Like, are you using this for, I just need to print like the random meme print of the month because I just got into 3D printing and I might buy a spool a month, if that. Yeah, okay, then you go this way. Oh, I need it for school because I'm an architectural design student. I need to be able to print stuff to show off in class. Okay, that brings you down this, like, I need to print, I'm using it for business. Okay, that opens up a whole can of worms and whatnot. Like, it's a lot easier to recommend printers on the low end up to, I think, the P1S. Once you start looking at things beyond a P1S, the market really depends on what you're actually needing your printer to do. Like, it really starts to open up at that point, so. Would you recommend a 300 V2 as a first printer kit? I have an Ender clone already. A 300 Voron is probably your best, like, if you don't know what Voron to build, I say a 300 Trident, or 300 V2. If you don't know which one to build, a Trident or a V2, you get a Trident, okay? But if you want the V2, get the V2. But if you don't know which one to build, obviously you're not gonna be able to, like, it's, if you don't know which one to build, just go with the Trident. So. Okay, we got to do a giveaway in 3 minutes. 3 minutes, I got to end the stream because wifey's got to go to work. Equivalent for the Bambu Lab AMS, Enraged Rabbit. Yes and no. They both accomplish the same thing. The advantage you have with the Enraged... Okay, quite simple too. Do you have a Bambu machine? If yes, you're using the AMS because there's no other option. Do you not have a Bambu? You're not using the AMS because you can't use it on anything but a Bambu. That decides it there. Do you want a Bambu or do you not want a Bambu? If you want a Bambu, you're getting the AMS. If you don't want a Bambu, you're not getting the AMS. That's it there. There's no thing. The only other option on the Bambu is the Chameleon, the 3D Chameleon, which is cheaper and faster than the AMS, although you have to sort out buffering and you have to sort out enclosure issues. But yeah, and you have to do a whole post-processing thing, but it's cheaper and faster. Trad rack. I haven't seen, the Trad rack looks cool. I haven't seen it. The problem also with the ERFA, the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder, and the Trad rack, those are DIY solutions as well. So you have to build them. They're not off-the-shelf items. And I'm very hesitant to compare custom DIY open source things to commercial things. Because, like Vorons, for example, a lot of people ask me, oh, should I buy a Voron or should I build a Voron or buy Bambu? And I'm like, you don't buy a Voron. You build a Voron, and you're not building a Voron, you're building your Voron. This machine could be a completely different machine than your 2.4 because of the way I built it, the kit I used, how good my build skills are. You know, did you run your belts right? Did you tension them right? Are you using good bearings? Is one of your bearings dying, you just don't know and you don't care? Like, there are so many different variables within Vorons, and the fact you have to build it yourself, it kind of, they don't occupy the same space as a machine that you just buy and take it out of the box, right? Mosaic palette. I'm not a huge fan of the palette. Palette doesn't work on Klipper either, so. I have a filament runout sensor. Klipper sees there's no filament, but it immediately starts extruding once there is filament, but it's not. PC Van Villis. You need to go into your config and play around with the macro. You should be able to, you're gonna have to look at some other printers that have filament runout centers, like configs, examples, and you're gonna have to play with the config, because your config isn't set up right. Your config should, once you reinsert the filament, it should pause the print, and then when you put the filament back in, you should have to like manually purge it till it's flowing again, or however you set it up. You can set it to do it automatically too, and then resume the print. You have something's not right in your macro where it's automatically resuming. So you're gonna have to play around with the macro a bit. You wanna buy a Troodon. Troodon is Troodon, it's not a Voron. Okay, let's do this giveaway because I gotta do the giveaway. Okay, so if you didn't enter for your chance to win some filament from Polymaker, every stream we do a giveaway. So we're gonna do that right now. Responses are closed. You'll have another chance tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we're back out in the garage, carrying on with the Ultimaker Original. We're off to the XY assembly, and we'll see how that goes. I'm really loving this build, by the way. Also, I swapped out the red parts for purple parts on the VZ-Bot. Oh, looks so good. Looks so good. I had room in the garage. Now I got 2 half-assembled printers taking up every space out there. Thanks. I'll copy some stuff from the Voron. Yeah, just copy. Like honestly, I copy macros between printers all the time. You could set up a lot of macros in a way where it's like it's defined. Like you can pull like the beauty of Klipper, you can run Python code in it. So certain macros you can like else if statement the hell out of it, and like have like it automatically pull bed dimensions. Like you could set it like, you know, to park it in the middle of the tool head, and then have the macro set up in a way so if you copy the macro from this machine to that machine, you know, they're different bed sides, it'll still park it in the middle. It's quite cool. So yeah, this is unofficially part 5 of the Mark IV series. So I don't know, give me a number between 4 and 5. I need a number between 4 and 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. But keep spamming numbers in chat. It helps with the engagement. Okay, round it goes. Where it stops, I don't know. We'll find out in a second. But the winner will get an email from me after the stream ends with information on how to collect your filament. So congratulations, Cadell, Keedle, KDL, Cuddle, Cuddle, Cuddle. Congratulations, Cuddle. You have won yourself some filament. So let me just make sure you know how to answer a skill testing question. You do, congratulations. So you will get an email from me after the stream ends with information on how to collect your filament from Polymaker. So there we go there. So everyone golf claps in chat. So yeah, so I'm gonna let this finish printing. And when it's done, I'll take some pictures of it and post it on the Twitters and the Discord. So again, don't forget the community challenge for August is open. It will be the last Friday of the month. I gotta update that. What's the last Friday of the month? Shoot. Quick, everyone spam chat. What day of the week is the last Friday of the month? Friday. I know it's Friday. I meant the day. Like the 25th? Okay, 25th. So that means you got 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks. All you got to do is print. Go. I am going to see so many Gridfinities. You got to be careful. Here's the thing. Remember, you do not have to design the model, but if you print the same thing as everyone else, you're going to be at a disadvantage. I expect to see a lot of Gridfinities out there. So if you're doing Gridfinity, you better take it to the next level. Also, nozzle storage. We're going to see a lot of nozzle storage. Okay, so we're going to call it there. I say what you will about, you know, oh, it's overpriced or it's outdated. Working on a Prusa is just so bloody easy. Update firmware, throw it on an SD card, plug it in, turn the machine on, done. This machine is just a pleasure to fiddle with. Like, if you like tinkering with printers, but you want a more clean packaged experience, like I still can't go wrong. You still can't go wrong recommending a Mark IV. Is it the biggest bang for the buck nowadays? Not really. But I mean, it's doing the thing you asked it to do, and it's kind of fast now. It's 3 hours. That's how fast. Like, this is a 3-hour print on most of my machines, so it's running at the same speeds as everything else. And I could replace a bearing in here in 5 minutes versus, you know, 5 hours on a Bambu, and $80 on a Bambu minimum plus shipping. So yeah, cool. So I'll have a print for this later. So I will see you back tomorrow. I may sleep tonight. We'll see. I'm kind of caught back up on. I'm gonna go play Baldur's Gate. If you haven't played Baldur's Gate, go get Baldur's Gate 3. Just buy it. Play it. If you're not a big D&D fan, like if you don't like turn-based combat, just set it to the easiest difficulty and just play it for the story, because oh, it's so good. I didn't even know J.K. Simmons does a character in it, and it's badass. I love it. I love it. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Shout out to Polymaker for the spool filament we gave away this stream and every stream. Links for them and more in the video description. And for those that donated to the channel, gifted memberships to others, or became members of the channel yourself, I thank you. I'd not be able to do the things I do, create the content I create, without your continued support. You make it all possible. For example, allowing me to purchase a Mark IV for this whole series. So I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, 1v7. And we're back in the garage. Hopefully it's not too hot. Okay, I'm gonna go play Baldur's Gate until 4 a.m. Bye.